The little girl casually touched someone's wrist and immediately identified the root cause of the richest person's illness. Then she grabbed a few small stones from a flower pot. With one hand, she lifted the wheelchair into the air. She waved her little hand, and the wheelchair started spinning in the air. Then she threw the stones. In an instant, the richest person was surrounded by a surge of energy. After he landed, he spit out a large mouthful of water. The next moment, he miraculously woke up. What no one knew was that the little girl's extraordinary medical skills came from being a saintess of the medical path. She was struck by heavenly lightning during her tribulation, and her soul transmigrated into the body of a 6-year-old girl suffering from a terminal illness. At this point, the original body's condition was already severely ill, but as a healer, she couldn't heal herself. The saintess couldn't help but complain about the heavens' trickery. Fortunately, her father told her that as long as they obtained the family's treasured medical book, she would have a chance of survival. The next day, father and daughter met their grandfather and his group at the hotel entrance, but they completely ignored them. Her father, with thick skin, tried to ask for the medical book, but the old man didn't even acknowledge him as his son. Her father knew he wouldn't be forgiven. He just begged the old man to lend him the medical book to save his daughter. Unexpectedly, the eldest son mocked him. His own son even demanded that his father polish the old man's shoes. For his daughter's sake, the father had no choice but to endure. He knelt down to clean the old man's shoes, but to his surprise, the old man stepped right on them. At this critical moment, the little girl arrived. She flicked a stone and knocked the old man's foot away. Everyone was furious at her rudeness. They urged her to quickly apologize to her grandfather, but the girl ignored them completely, because as the saintess of the medical path, she never apologized to anyone. Just then, the richest person, whom the little girl had healed, arrived. He sarcastically pointed out that the old man had declared him incurable, but a stranger, using ordinary stones, had healed him for free. The old man looked at the stone in his hand, and concluded that this person's medical skills were extremely rare. He immediately decided to search for her. The little girl, however, said that she was the one they were looking for, but the richest person dismissed her as a naive child. He took the stone from the old man and left. Then the old man angrily declared that only the champion of the medical path tournament had the right to view the medical book. The father and daughter, who knew nothing of medicine, wouldn't be able to use it. The little girl provocatively replied that the so-called geniuses in their eyes wouldn't be able to win the tournament. Sure enough, with a small act of provocation, she successfully got the old man to agree to let her participate. Soon, the medical path tournament began. The first event was pulse diagnosis with silk threads. The family genius, thinking it was easy, chose to go first. He quickly identified the symptoms of 3 patients and treated them with acupuncture. The first 2 patients quickly recovered, but when it came to the third, he kept making mistakes. To protect his reputation, he secretly poisoned the needle with centipede venom and stabbed the patient's acupoint. He thought no one had noticed, but the little girl saw everything. Then it was the father's turn. Everyone thought his medical skills were mediocre, but after his diagnosis, they realized he had accurately identified the symptoms of all 3 patients. Some jealous family members couldn't stand seeing his brilliance, and secretly planned to disrupt his treatment if he made a mistake. But to their surprise, the man successfully treated the first 2 patients